Hey guys, welcome back to Karan's Cuisine, and from now on I'll be making all the Thanksgiving recipes, and I'm not making turkey because this month I'm not eating meat in my house. And since mashed potatoes or baked potatoes is a traditional side dish or starter for Thanksgiving dinner, I'll be showing you 2 baked potato recipes that will replace the traditional baked potatoes with a little bit of a twist. The first recipe is a Swedish version of baked potatoes called Hasselback Potatoes because it was made in a restaurant named Hasselback. The ingredients needed for this recipe are 4 russet potatoes or just any starchy type of potatoes, 1.5 tablespoons of oil, about 2 tablespoons of butter, and did I mention this was olive oil, and about 4 cloves of garlic, some rosemary and thyme just for flavor. This is kind of optional, but it adds a lot of good taste. And a 1/2 teaspoon of salt and pepper for seasoning. Let's start making these potatoes. The first step to making your potatoes is cutting them. How you cut them is you want to go far through the potato, but not all the way through, so that it forms like a potato flap. And I'm using 2 chopsticks here to ensure that I don't go all the way through the potato. The knife will just stop when it hits the chopsticks. But you can, if you don't have chopsticks, you can use IKEA spoons or anything as thick as this or thicker. Try to cut as thin as you can. See that there are like flaps, and that you can see I didn't cut it all the way through the bottom, only just close, so it formed like flaps like this, and this is how you want it. Just don't make them too thick or they won't cook well. Okay, now to work on my other potatoes. After cutting your potatoes, the next step is to rub the oil inside the flaps and outside of the potato. And then once you've oiled them, just add salt in the same way. Coated my potatoes with 1/2 tablespoon of olive oil and 1/2 teaspoon of salt. And now I've preheated my oven to 425 Fahrenheit, and I'm going to transfer it to a baking tray and bake it for 20 minutes. While my potatoes are baking, it's time to prepare a garlic butter. I've heated my pan on medium-low, and now add 1/2 tablespoon of olive oil, then butter. While it's melting, add crushed garlic, rosemary, thyme, and salt. Now cook this for 3 to 4 minutes or until the garlic turns red on the edges. 4 minutes on medium-low, you can see that they're like turning red on the edges, which means that it's done, so I can take it out. I just took it out of the oven after 20 minutes on 425 degrees Fahrenheit, and now I can apply my garlic butter. Now that I've buttered all my potatoes, I can put it back in the oven for another 20 minutes. Been another 20 minutes in the oven, and now I'll just sprinkle on the little garlic butter that I had left, and then just sprinkle some pepper. sprinkled pepper on all of my potatoes, and now all I have to do is pop it back into the oven for another 20 minutes and it'll be done. While the potatoes are baking, I'm gonna work on my second potato recipe. This is called potato stacks, and the ingredients are a bit similar to the other one. The ingredients needed are 3 golden potatoes. You can use any type of potato, but I think these are the best. Half a tablespoon of olive oil, some rosemary and thyme, about 3 to 4 cloves of garlic, 2 tablespoons of butter, half a teaspoon of salt, half a teaspoon of pepper, and about 2 to 3 tablespoons of Parmesan. Let's get started. I'm done peeling my potatoes, and now you can slice them. I'm using this, but if you don't have something like this, you can use the side of the box grater like this. Let me get started. Just make sure you have thin slices. Okay, now open this, and you can see that it's like really thin. This is the size that you want. If you can adjust your thickness, just make sure that it's as thin as this. But if you can't, we'll just work with what you have. I've already sliced all my potatoes, and I'm gonna mix all of the ingredients together. And I've created a garlic butter like I did with the Hasselback potatoes with the same ingredients. And just mix it all in. And if you don't want to make the garlic butter, then just add melted butter and some rosemary, thyme, and salt just into this instead of preparing it. Make sure you don't get the garlic cloves in here because that doesn't really taste that good. Parmesan, salt and pepper. Just mix it all in. I mixed in all of my ingredients, and if you want it more spicy, you can add a little bit of paprika or just extra pepper. And I've got a muffin tray ready here. I'm gonna grease it with butter. I'm just using the extra leftover garlic butter. You can just melt extra butter if you want to. Pan is greased. Just take a bunch of potatoes in a stack. And just put it on the bottom like this. Until it reaches the top. When it reaches the top, you want to put a little bit smaller potatoes, so it's kind of like a pyramid. Three potatoes makes 5 cups or 5 stacks, and I have a leftover cup right here, and I didn't want to just put an empty cup in the oven, so I filled it with a little bit of water. And now I've preheated my oven to 350 degrees, and I can bake it for 55 minutes to 1 hour, just straight with no taking out. Put it for 58 minutes in the oven, and you can see how it's like reddish and golden brown. And it's looking really yummy. And I also just sprinkled a little bit of pepper on the top for taste. So now I'll just like transfer it onto a plate like this. It's looking really yummy. And it's ready to serve with the Hasselback potatoes. Okay, now I can taste these with a little bit of ketchup, but you can use any sauce like mayo, mustard, ranch, honey mustard, anything you have. But I just personally like ketchup because it tastes like French fries with ketchup. And now I'll just taste a little bit. This is really good and like crunchy. Taste a little bit of this too. It's like I'm in heaven. Make sure to try this recipe. Stay tuned for other Thanksgiving recipes and like and subscribe.